Well, Fever fans, it's our lucky day because we got a surprise interview from Pat Boylan sitting down with Stephanie White on the Indiana Fever channel that just dropped. I was in the middle of eating dinner and this popped up and had to watch, had to see if there were any new insights. And a lot of the stuff, to be honest, was kind of the same from the press conference, but there were three main moments that kind of stood out to me that spoke a little bit deeper to Stephanie White's viewpoint and a little bit of insider knowledge, especially the last one. So, diving in, the first one was that Stephanie White's retelling of recognizing the moment that the Fever's in and the recognizing the moment of Caitlin Clark. And she told this story of how it was last year, she was announcing one of her games at Maryland, and she's coming down the escalator into the hotel lobby and expecting just like to take a quick little trip up the road to the gym and go announce the game. And when she got down to the lobby, it was absolutely packed. It was full. And she mentioned something that like only like in a really big NBA game or an NFL game, this is something you could see. And the traffic was like so backed up trying to just like get to the stadium, which was only like a mile away, that it took her, 45 plus minutes to an hour just to even get to the gym, let alone get inside the gym that was packed and all that kind of stuff. And I think this was the moment for her where Stephanie White, being someone that's been at every level of the basketball, especially as an Indiana Fever fan in Indiana, she's seen the kind of like different levels. She's seen WNBA stars transition from college to the WNBA. And this was kind of her first moment of like, wow. And my favorite quote was like, she was calling Caitlin Clark Taylor Swift 2.0, which funny enough, she was just recently at a Taylor Swift concert. But, I think that talking about and recognizing that this is kind of the first player that's transitioned that college crazy fandom, packed houses every night, into the WNBA and really bring that here. She recognized that right away. And she also recognizes the pressure and things that can come with that, which brings me to my second thing, was that she's excited to have young superstars early. She talked a lot about how she has coached superstars like Tamika Catchings or Alyssa Thomas, but they were later in their careers. And she even played with Tamika, so she had experience from a player. So it's very different, but exciting to also get Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark at their beginning stages of development in the WNBA itself. And she talked about a lot about how she sees so much growth for them, which is exciting. And that she also wants to help them navigate the nuance of the in-game, but also the out-of-game, because she's someone that's very confident in herself. She knows what she brings to the table. She doesn't have to prove it to anybody. She can tune out the outside stuff if she needs to. Obviously, she's human, but she is pretty solid when it comes to that. Also, to point out too, she did defend the Fever fan base, rightfully, obviously so, given her roots especially, and went against her players in Connecticut when all that stuff was happening and going down. So as someone that has navigated that, wanting to come in and help Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark navigate that is really big. I mean, it's a big spotlight, but that's also, again, exciting because there's a lot of momentum and things that make you attractive as a franchise to bring in players and to perform if you embrace that spotlight. And she mentions that both of these players are players that would do that. And the fact that Stephanie White is kind of the perfect coach to come in and try to coach those players, because she's been at every level, being a player, being assistant broadcaster, being a head coach. She's seen all the levels of kind of the game and different viewpoints. And one of my favorite quotes for her talking about how she likes to engage with players is she importantly wants to listen to players. The more that she coaches, she is getting away from being on the floor. And so as that time passes, she wants to engage with the players and get their ideas, get their stuff, and then give her viewpoint so that they can come to a better decision. She can update her game and they can update theirs based on her experience. And I love how she described it as, she got it from someone else, but it was basically like players fly at 10,000 feet, assistant coaches at 25,000 feet, and the head coach at 50,000 feet. And you all kind of work together to give the overall view. And that is just brilliant coaching philosophy and a system. And I love that they have a system in place. And with that, reaching out to players, the third big thing is she's already been calling players, and not just engaging with players like Lexi, AB, and Caitlin Clark, who are in town, who are around, who are at the press conference, but she's been calling players while they've been in China or overseas. She's been reviewing she's already been reviewing tape of the offense and the defense, getting ideas. And so the next steps are definitely settling her coaching staff, but she's already reaching out to players, including Kelsey Mitchell, which I didn't mention in my last video. So I want to be very, very clear that the front office has very much talked Kelly, Stephanie White. Everyone has talked about how Kelsey Mitchell is a core part of this team. Lexi Hall, clearly, otherwise they probably wouldn't have her at the press conference, and rightfully so. She punches above her weight, if you will, for her contract. So and she fits the kind of core style that they want to run and the culture that they want to build. So I don't see any reason why she wouldn't be back. So just know that she's already doing the work. She's already active, and I love that they're so hungry and they're already active, and there's no stop for them. And the other little piece that I liked to hear from her was that, you know, part of the philosophy of this too is, and what she saw last year and admired from the Fever was that off the court, Zubilation, let's go. That was the catalyst. But that off the court, the team vibed. They played with a lot of joy. There were those games, you know, the moment where Caitlin Clark was jumping and skipping down the sidelines after making a three. Those are huge moments. And she mentioned that connected teams are winning teams. And so I love that, again, this is a piece they're thinking about of who they bring in is, are you a culture fit? Can you fit within the system? But also, we need to have good vibes. We need to have good vibes, and we need to believe in each other and be that tight-knit group so that when it comes crunch time, when you're playing in those margins, that you can pull it out and win. Because the deeper you get in playoffs and the finals, that's what matters. You look at the slugfest that was the finals of the WNBA, and you have players that are battered, they're broken, they're injured, they're still playing through it, they're missing shots. You know, the Liberty gritted that one out. It was not a beautiful game. It was an ugly last game. But if whatever it takes to be able to win those games, that's what you need to build and instill in your team. So I love to hear it. Again, encouraging things from them on this one. And I want to know what you all think. Did you catch it? If you haven't caught it, go check it out on the Indiana Fever channel. I think it's like a 20-minute video or so. But yeah, all great things for the Fever. Again, I'm getting more excited, and I can't wait to hear more. Remember, like, subscribe, and as always, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing, and I'll catch you next episode.